Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Sallie Wagner. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, a Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here today. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for asking me today.
You betcha. I'm so grateful to have you here today. You're from Intentional Life Coaching, and you're going to share a interesting secret. Discover your success with MSG, a mindset, skill set, and get off your asset, which I kind of like.
Yes.
It's a really, really catchy name. But before we go to all of that, I'd like for you to share a little bit with our audience on your backstory. What brought you into coaching?
So a culmination of life events and life training, really, and answering the calling. Many years ago, when I was in college, I started out in physics, ended up in theology, so physics to metaphysics. Then I got distracted. I went to law school. I did all those things that we're supposed to do, right? And I still had that desire and that passion to do something else, to do something different. And so coaching brings all of that together for me.
Interesting. When you said physics and all that, it seems very left brain, and maybe coaching, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems a little bit more creative and right brain centric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you able to use some of the stuff that you learned from prior, from being a lawyer, and add it into what you do in coaching?
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of the coaching, MSG, mindset, skill set, get off your asset, skill set involves a lot of left brain thinking, right? Building systems and processes to get us moving in the direction of our goals.
Yeah, it's interesting. From your experience working with people, I think what gets in people's way a lot of times starting a business is the mindset piece, the first thing you mentioned, that getting stuck up in your head. My friend was like, I'll read one more book and I'll be ready on sales or something. And, you never be ready until you just get out there and start doing it, practicing, because practice makes perfect. And there comes that skill set, which you're going to have to build in whatever business you're doing. Now, and I like get off your asset. Where did that come from?
It just had a nice ring to it. I deal with a lot of real estate issues, so assets, so.
Well, it kind of makes sense to what I was just saying is basically it's getting off your duff and just starting to take the action.
Yes.
How do you propel, say, someone that comes to you stuck and says, okay, I have this business idea, I have the website, I got all the pretty stuff together, but I don't seem to be able to get going, or I'm not building sales. Where do you start with them?
Yeah, so it all starts with mindset, because that's a lot of what holds us back, right? That, I got to be perfect. Well, no, I don't. We tell ourselves things that are not true. And it's the things that are not true that hold us back. So we have to kind of unlearn those mind apps, those paradigms, to understand, you don't have to be perfect. You have to take action. The smallest deed is greater than the grandest intention, right? We just got to move forward and keep going. And it's a skill to be able to take action, because golly, how many procrastinators do we know? Me sometimes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it is a skill.
Yeah, it's a skill, and you build a skill. Like they say, mastery comes with a minimum of 10,000 hours. My very first podcast, not mastery. And in fact, I felt a big propelling to do it for my business. And my coach is like, just get out there and do it. So what I did, I had a couple of my friends come out, will you be my guinea pig? Can I practice on you? So I did a couple of test ones. And of course, it took year. Now it's 10 years out, or almost 11 years. And I've gotten very comfortable with it, but that's many, many hours of practice. And that's what it takes, I think, for anything you're going to get out there. I think a lot of people have the idea, I have this wonderful business. Maybe I make hats or whatever it is. And they're thinking, I want to make a business of it. So you're good at that one thing, but to run your business or to get it out there and make it a thriving business, there's so many other bits to running a successful business other than that one thing you're good at.
Exactly. Totally different skill set, right? It's working in the business to do that thing you love versus working on the business, which is what it takes to make the business successful.
Yeah. And now that you've been out there for a while, I've known quite a few business owners that are good at being the kind of freelance business owner where they work for their business as kind of an employee. And then they're years out going, I can't get away from this. I'm out. Nothing moves. And so they've got to get to that next strategy point where, different, what they call different devil, different whatever, different level, different devil. Yeah. So now you're in a different space. Okay. Now you're out to hire someone to do those bits to help you grow. So you have a team and you're not doing it all alone. And that's a different skill set. Can you share some of how you've helped your clients with that?
Yeah. So, and that again, it's a huge mindset because it's like we have this possessory interest in our business. It's our baby, and no one else can do it as well as we can.
Yeah.
Maybe, certainly there are some things that no one can do as well as we do. And yet there are tons of things that somebody else could do much better. And so we need to loosen that grip and understand that it's a gift that we give to ourselves to stay in our 20% where our expertise is and let somebody else handle that other 80%.
Oh my God, I couldn't agree more. I mean, for me, digital's not my thing, really. I thank God my husband's a super tech person. And whenever I have a problem, thank God he's my tech on board here that can help me out. But I know it's not my strong suit and I could try to learn stuff. But that's one thing. If you try to do everything, there's going to be things that you're just never going to be good at just because you don't really like it either. It's not your strength. Yeah,
absolutely. So why should we do things that we don't feel passionate about? Somebody else does, and let them have their 20% because that's what they love. And you stay in yours because it's the Pareto principle, right? We get 80% of our results from 20% of our effort.
Yeah.
And that's where the mindset comes in. We have to be a little bit thoughtful and contemplate what is our 20% and just stay there.
Yeah. And Sallie, another great point I found is that for years, as I was growing Savvy and my other bits, I'm stretching myself thin, doing the normal things, which I'm not crazy about either, like say cleaning your house or doing your laundry.
Yeah.
And I shift those out for other people to do. And one gal who had cleaned her house said, I love doing this. When I see a clean house, it just jazzes me up and makes me super happy. I'm like, me too. Come back next week.
Yeah.
No, so, you give someone else employment and it's kind of like a ripple in a pond while you're able to serve others with your gift. Now you're able to help others share what their gift is.
Absolutely. And it's, again, mindset. It's an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. Scarcity is I have to do everything because I can't part with my time, my money, my effort. It's all me. And yet when we give ourselves the grace to allow other people to do that, wow, an amazing gift and an amazing opportunity to find your success.
That's awesome. And through all the years you've worked with clients, has there been a kind of problem that pops up a lot with business owners that is like a number one problem? What has it been? How'd you solve it?
I think it's that perfectionism that, and I've struggled with it myself. I think a lot of us do and have, and so to be able to understand that is a limiting belief. It's not true. I don't have to be perfect. And as I reflect on my life, I see that there's so many things that I didn't do because I thought I wasn't going to be perfect at it. And it really shaped the course of my life in many regards because I held myself back. Well, what was that all about, right? Yeah. Nobody is perfect at everything the first time. And we have to allow ourselves the grace to suck at something long enough to get good at it.
And here's the thing also, Sallie, is that our idea of perfect changes as we grow. So I'll listen to a podcast. Now I've done it in almost 11 years, but I listened to the first podcast and I want to crawl under a table. But even 5 years ago, I'm better than I was then. And the same goes for a number of my other talents. As you continue to grow, you get better and better. So your idea of perfect isn't what it was 5 years ago. It changes as you continue to grow and get better. Of course, if you're expanding yourself, which hopefully you always are.
Exactly. It's a process. And that's what everything should be. And the goal is not perfection. The goal is moving in the right direction that you choose every single day.
Yeah, and also to recognize that, okay, maybe where I am today or where I started out is to be flexible and pivot, because where you are today, maybe you say, hey, I'm not happy. And where I started out and said, this is what I want to do forever, maybe it changes because life changes. So to be flexible, I think is the key word, to realize, okay, this is not where I want to be. What do I want? And that's something you come across, Sallie, that people say, when you really ask them to go deep, they're like, well, I really never thought about what do I truly, truly want.
Yeah. And that is the question that I ask people to ask themselves. What makes you come alive? Who are you when you're not doing what you do? Because those are the questions we need to ask. And, kind of a corollary to that is, why is something important? Which is kind of going to what you were saying. Is it important because it's worthy of you? Or is it because somebody told you it should be important? And there's a huge difference there.
Yeah. And one thing that came up for me when I started Savvy is when I started for my first business doing financial consulting, it was basically doing what I did in corporate for many years. My boss was like, you'd be awesome if you just opened a business and did what you do here in the office. Sure. And so I did it, and I enjoy it, but it wasn't super great love. But I said to people around me, what do you see me doing as a business? And everyone's like, oh, I can see you talking. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me. Talking doesn't make you money. Okay. Little did I know. But so I'd ask them that, and they're like, well, maybe you could be a bartender, or maybe you could, they're just trying to find.
Sure.
But what's interesting about it, by me asking those questions and journaling at the time, is you begin to reflect, what are the things I naturally do that I take for granted? And one of them for me was storytelling and talking to people. So, when you begin to kind of reflect on that, maybe journal or ask people around you, you begin to get a pattern or a picture of, this is what I'm already doing naturally. I just never put it into terms of this could be a business.
And that is such an amazing discovery. And that's what a lot of people come to. They're like, God, I've already been doing this. Wow. And it could be a business. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Especially in this day and time where the technology is so out there for almost anyone to start. My husband is a amazing visual artist, but in the old days, if you wanted to go out and do camera work or whatever, getting all the bits together and the film, super pricey. But with digital, you could take 1 billion pictures and go out there and spend a fraction of what you would pay in the old days.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. We could go on for hours. I know we can, but where do people find out more about you, work with you? How can they do that?
My website is Sallie, Sallie, Wagner.com. And love to have people check it out. They can contact me for more information. There's some links for some giveaways. So lots of information there. Yeah.
Perfect. And you also have a podcast. You want to tell people a little about that?
Oh, fabulous. Yes. It's called High Frequency Mindset. And we'll talk about all kinds of things that can impact business owners and how they can benefit from mindset.
And tweak their frequency to
yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I just have to thank you again, Sallie Wagner, for coming to Savvy Broadcasting and sharing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it as well.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more Savvy episodes and Savvy Biz Tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.